Hi everybody, this is Ken at the winery. Just thought I'd fill you in on what the latest happenings are with the Peach-Rhubarb ferment and the blueberry apple cider. The whiteboard on the back are the dates and times and things that took place during the fermentation. And the sound you hear is the sound of CO2 escaping from this tank of Peach-Rhubarb wine. This tank over here has the blueberry cider, and as you can see, it is basically done. The fermentation has come to completion. All the sugars have been converted into alcohol, and so there's no CO2 gas given off, as opposed to our Peach-Rhubarb here, where there is still a tremendous amount of sugar going on. Before I pressed the two separate ferments into this one tank, combining them, I took off a portion of a carboy container of each one. So this Peach-Rhubarb ferment was done in two different ways, and you can see they look much different. Both of them are actively fermenting. You can see the bubbles coming out of this one and the other one as well. But this one here is a combination of peaches and rhubarb that was inoculated with a commercial yeast called CY3079. It's a Burgundian strain, often used with Chardonnays and others. Creates very lovely, fruit-forward white wines. And this wine is very cloudy. The yeast is fully in suspension, a thick layer of foam, lots of little bubbles streaming up through there, and you see quite a bit of foam on the top. This portion, exact same combination of peaches and rhubarb, none of the yeast was added. The activity that you're seeing in here is due solely to the wild microorganisms that were on the fruit to begin with. So that obviously includes a whole bunch of Saccharomyces yeast, which loves eating sugar and converting that into alcohol. They are floating around in there, creating just this thin krausen of activity, keeping the beautiful peach color. You can see some of the yeast rising up from the bottom. They're floating on little bubbles of CO2. There's a natural sort of convection going on as the yeast consume the sugars, making alcohol and converting this into wine. So this is a wild yeast ferment, and this is the commercial strain ferment. Both started at the same time under very similar conditions and quite different in activity. These two were combined. They were 500-liter batches, and the 500-liter batches are combined in this tank right here. And that's the sound you hear of the fermentation taking place. The blueberry cider ferments, I also pulled off a gallon of each, and you can see that one of them is still active. You can see the bubbles streaming up right there. They're finishing off the sugars that are in that container. What I did was to combine wild low bush blueberries with a fresh pressed apple cider to make this blue cider. I wasn't quite sure of the proper proportions of blueberries to cider. It varies every year, and I wanted to experiment, so I split the batch into two portions. In one portion I put 390 pounds of blueberries. The other I put 270 pounds of blueberries. Both of them were combined into the final batch that's in this large tank right here. But before I combined them, I took off a portion of each. The one that had more blueberries, therefore more sugars, is still active. The one that had a lower amount, only 270 pounds of blueberries, had lower total sugars, so it's pretty much finished its fermentation. Anyway, that's the latest on the fermentation happenings here at Hermit Woods. Hope everybody has a great day.